All right, what's up, you dirtbags? It's Las Vegas time, and we are going to present to you guys episode number 117 today. Huge shout out to our producer Brandon for absolutely cranking these out. We are going to get this one to you guys. As you noticed, we had MSTA, episode number 116. That came out on Tuesday. And then the Friday before that, we had number 115 with Teach Me Dirt, the man, Brad himself. We have been pumping out episodes, but huge shout out to Brandon, our producer. It is his birthday. So thank you, Brandon, for all that you do. Thank you for working and being our producer now for over 4 years. For those who don't know, we had a podcast before the Dirtbags. It was called Phaser Friday. Luke Payne, of course, was our first guest on there. If you need some good comedy or good entertainment, go back on YouTube, check those out. They are tough to listen to. They are tough to watch. And, but nonetheless, Brandon, thank you for all that you do. And also huge shout out to Keegan on our Dirtbags team, always putting out those reels and clips. You guys are the best. Episode 117, what we have in store for you guys. We have the man, Taylor Stewart. He owns Stewart Concrete and Groundworks, and kind of interesting episode because Taylor's just such an awesome guy, and their business is flipped from what we normally talk about. Typically, our guests that we have on might be heavier in excavation, lighter in concrete, and then Taylor's is the opposite, heavier in concrete, lighter in excavation. But he started out mowing and went through all the phases to get to this point, but it was really an insightful episode and just a great conversation with him to really dive into how he got to the point where he is today. And so for those listening, definitely go give him a follow right now before the episode starts at Stewart Concrete Groundworks. He's an awesome follow, great guy. I'll let him know that you're listening to the episode on the Dirtbags here, and super, super glad that we got to have him on. So a couple quick updates. As you guys will see on YouTube or Spotify, we have our WWE Dirtbag of the Year belt. What we're going to do, so we are heading to Las Vegas next week. Hope to see all of you guys there. It is Con Expo week, and we couldn't be more stoked. So for those who don't know, Con Expo is every 3 years only. It's put on and owned by AEM, the Association of Equipment Manufacturers. We had a celebrity, John Summers, on our show. He's their VP. He is a dirtbag. He is the man. We've had him on twice now, but we just had him recently on the show. Anyway, they sent this sweet hat, green rope Con Expo hat, repping that today. So thank you guys for that. But back to the WWE belt. We're going to try and give this thing away to our Dirtbag of the Year at the show. As a lot of you guys know and have heard me blab about for the last few weeks, we are doing our big Con Expo Dirtbags meetup. Really, this is just a place where anyone can come together, meet new people in the industry, but also just have a good time. And so we are going to do our meetup at the NCon booth on Thursday from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. The booth number is at the festival grounds, and it is F39004. Everyone is invited. We want all of you guys there. If you want friends, family, your team, feel free to show up. We'll have free drinks for you guys. The first, I think, 75 people that come will have a limited edition Dirtbags hat and a bunch of other merch and just fun stuff for you guys. This is new development, but we think we're going to have a little competition in the NCon sandbox with their tilt rotators to see who is going to win the coveted Dirtbag of the Year WWE belt. And then we also might put on a little interview program for you guys and just have a good time out there. Might see if Dane with DC wants to jump on, maybe Christian Leffley, potentially Dervin with Dig It. Like just get some people on, have a good time, and that likely won't be recorded. So if you're coming to the show, make sure you show up to the Dirtbags meetup. Can't wait to see you guys there. Thank you for all of our sponsors for helping out with this and just being willing to pitch in a little bit extra for this. And also a huge thank you to Dylan with Red Run Property Services for hitting me up and saying, dude, if you need help buying some more drinks, let me know. That is super helpful because we're going to put that to great use. So thank you guys for everything. Can't wait to see you at the Sandbox at the Encon booth Thursday, March 5th at Con Expo. One other thing is I will be speaking at the show on Wednesday. It's from 10:45 to 11:45. It's an educational session. I believe you have to buy like a separate pass for that. Shoot me a message if you have any questions, but it's all on the Con Expo website. If you just search my name, I'm doing a presentation on employee retention. It's just from strategies that I've learned and pulled from you guys, a lot of leaders in the construction industry, and I've cultivated it into one presentation that I am very, very excited about. So huge thank you to Con Expo and AEM for bringing everyone together. 130,000 people, 3.1 million square feet of a show in Las Vegas. We couldn't be more excited to come back to Con Expo. But the only thing I'm more excited about right now is this episode with Taylor Stewart. So I think with that, I'm going to quit talking. I can't wait to see all of you. Shoot me a text if you're going to be there, please. My cell is 218-234-7345. I'll be there with Joe Casey from our team and Colton Creer. We're going to be hanging out Wednesday to Friday. Super, super excited. And let's dive into it here. Toss the belt over my other shoulder here. We've got the man, Taylor Stewart, episode number 117 of the Dirtbags podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for everything. We will see you at Con Expo. Brandon, happy birthday. If you can roll the music, let's get into it. It's a beautiful day. And let's listen to this episode with the man, Taylor Stewart from Stewart Concrete and Groundworks. Let's go. All right, what's up, you dirtbags? Welcome back to the Dirtbag Studio. I hope you guys are having an incredible March. Hope I got to see a lot of you at Con Expo. We have a very special episode. This is episode number 117 of the Dirtbags podcast coming up. This hat sponsor of this episode is by KHC Environmental, Chris Mayberry and the team. Chris, thank you for the incredible gear. Had to rep it on this episode. I'm so excited to welcome in a guest from the Great White North. Up in Canada, I'm so excited to welcome in our guy, Taylor Stewart, to the Dirtbags podcast. Taylor, welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm super pumped.
Yeah, man. We were just talking and you just got done with a quick snowmobile trip. So as we're recording this, it's February. You guys just got hit with some snow. Tell me a little bit about that. Like, you're up near Toronto. How much snow did you guys get?
Yeah, we're like, I'm specifically about an hour out of Toronto. And we've got quite a bit of snow right now. It's actually been one of the probably heaviest winters for snow we've had in a little while. I'd say we probably have like an honest 3 or 4 feet right now. So I don't know, maybe some people it's not a lot, but yeah, for us it is. Yeah.
I feel like for most people listening, that'll be a lot. But you're right. All over the country and the continent, we've been getting hit with this cold snap and a ton of snow, which I know, people go both ways on it, but for most people we work with, that's a good thing, right?
For sure.
They want to be out pushing. So, so Taylor Stewart, we've got Stewart Concrete, or your Instagram handle, Stewart Concrete and Groundworks. So for everyone listening, go give them a follow on Instagram. Taylor, tell me about the company and what is your main focus? I know we were talking, it is more concrete and excavation instead of excavation and concrete. So just curious to hear the makeup of your company currently.
Yeah. So, I mean, it all kind of started with obviously getting into concrete work, but I always noticed with at least the people that I knew or local people that like a large majority of people would either do concrete or they do excavating. And to me, it just seems so odd. Like it was just kind of a hiccup in, I guess you could say, the system. Not that everyone does it separately, but I'm kind of like, why would, it's almost like, I do car detailing, like I'll detail the inside of a car, but I'm not going to wash the outside, like it's, you can't do concrete without the excavation and vice versa. Right. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. And I would say 90% of what we do is concrete related work, and
Mhm.
excavation would more be considered prep work or excavation that's involved with the concrete work itself. Not that we don't do some excavating work, but yeah, 90% of the work's related to the concrete.
Yeah. And then for our audience, give us a picture of when you started, how you got into it, and then maybe ramp it up from there until how we got to today and where you guys are at in terms of your team, your equipment, and the type of projects you guys take on.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it started when I was younger in high school. Like, I was never a big school guy. I wanted to always be
Yeah.
outside. And I actually started in high school doing landscaping, like just kind of like mowing lawns and stuff like that. And I didn't love mowing lawns, but I liked being outside.
hmm
And the company that I worked for when I was younger, um, a local company, as far as kind of like the lawn maintenance mowing side of things, he was kind of considered like a high end company.
hmm
Like, he took care of a lot of super nice homes and like estate homes and super nice places. So I guess you could say kind of my like OCD side of things, or like attention to detail with my business,
hmm
kind of started from that. And then I kind of did a little bit of side work on my own when I was younger. Like, I guess you could say most young guys do. If I feel like that's kind of what everyone leans towards, is like
Yeah.
landscaping. It's easy to like take mom and dad's lawnmower and a shovel and a
Yeah.
wheelbarrow and try and make some extra cash. But yeah, that's kind of how it all started. And then I started up my own kind of hardscape business, I guess you could say. It was
hmm
more or less just take on whatever I could get because I was young and didn't have a lot of money and was just kind of money hungry to do whatever
Yeah.
would work. And then I was just so slow. Like, after working in high school, like full time for a couple years and things like that, I would help a couple people I knew with pouring concrete or running equipment and things like that. And I just really, really enjoyed it, even though I really had no clue what I was doing and I was super
hmm
green to it all. I was just like, wow, this is super cool and it's something different. And I've always kind of had like a bit of an artistic side, like when I was
hmm
younger and things like that. So I don't know what it was about the concrete, but I always just super enjoyed that. And then obviously just the like hard work outdoor kind of side of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I helped out some friends and things like that with concrete. And I mean, if anyone's poured concrete before, they know like it looks easy, but it's not, or it's easy to do, it's hard to do well, and you really only have one
hmm
shot at it. So I kind of jumped in deep, not fully knowing what I was getting into, with just some side work, like little shed pads and things like that. And
Yeah.
I learned pretty quickly that it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Like, there's a lot more to it. But yeah, it's just one thing led to the next. I started, really enjoying doing it, and worked alongside like some older guys I know and things like that that would, teach some small tricks and little things that made a difference. And yeah, I don't know, man, it happened so fast. Like, it feels like it was just yesterday. I mean, not that it's
Yeah.
been long. It's been this going into this season will be our fifth year.
Yep.
But yeah, like, it was crazy. It was kind of just some side jobs for family, friends, and posting on local Facebook groups. And here we are. It's a full-time gig, and yeah, I'm too deep now to turn back.
Yeah, dude, I feel that. And congratulations, man. I think so many people listening feel that same sentiment or that story of it,
Yeah,
started out as some side jobs and some side projects, and all of a sudden, like, this is year 5. And
yeah,
you look around, you're like, this is a business. Like, we call this a
yeah,
business. And I'm in my 6th year right now of business. And
yeah,
the first 2, yeah, I mean, I called it a business, but it
yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
much of that. And
yeah,
yeah, man, it's just crazy how and we'll talk about this too, just the OCD, the attention to detail, the
yeah,
operations, but really the consistency with it all.
yeah, yeah,
And sometimes too, there's a monotony to business of you kind of do the same thing and take care of people the best you can, and you keep going and you keep going and you keep going. And um, my opinion, I think the reason a lot of businesses fail is they want to get rich quick, or they want it
100%.
now, or they
Yeah,
want like they just can't grasp the monotony of how long this is going to take.
Yeah.
And you're in year 5, I'm in year 6. Like we plan on doing this for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I just think it's so cool to hear stories like yours because it's like, yeah, you're not brand new in business, but sometimes it feels like you are. But then
Yeah.
when you look back at the lessons you've learned, it's like, okay, yeah, we have a good foundation here,
Yeah. In a
figuratively.
sense,
And
it feels like it's been forever.
yeah, exactly. So it's really, and we'll definitely, as we keep going here, we'll talk about, what the future looks like at the
Yeah.
company too. But so I hear this all the time. We work with a lot of excavation, septic, and hardscaping contractors,
Yeah.
and so often they started out in one way or another in mowing, landscaping, or something
Hmm.
along those lines, like when they were in
Hmm.
high school.
Yeah.
And so when you started there, probably just trying to get money, right? And then you went to hardscaping, and then you went more into concrete. When you were doing hardscaping, is that when you started doing some concrete, or what was that first job like, or how did you get it?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess it was a little bit of a mixture of some lawn mowing slash one off kind of like interlock or mulch jobs or, river rock jobs,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And it wasn't bad, but it didn't take me very long, even at that age, to just realize, like in the most polite way possible to landscape, like all the kudos to landscapers. But it's like, man, everyone does this, like like I just thought it would be so much more difficult to separate yourself in that line of work, like maybe on Monday to Friday. And it's like, I swear every other pickup truck and trailer you see, it's a landscaping company or it's a
Mhm.
lawn mowing company. And, I just so quickly realized, it would be such a big jump to get into something that would be, noticeably different in the sense, like, yeah, like I'm having a hard time putting a word to it, but like we get subbed by some landscape companies now that are super
Mhm.
high end and they have like a really good clientele base, and like it's super cool. But I feel like there's that middle ground of being a landscaper. Like that's why I said kudos to them, because I feel like there's just so many companies out there, and at the end of the day, as crazy as you want to get, like mowing a lawn. And I feel like, especially in now, like these times nowadays, with just how the world's going and like people being tighter on costs and things like that, I just noticed really quickly with doing it that I personally had a hard time, being able to set my business up to separate myself from others.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. You have to what do they say? There's the you can have it good, fast, and cheap, or
Yeah.
cheap, but you can only choose two. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like in every industry too, but especially in the ones that have a low barrier to entry,
Hmm.
you really have to figure out what is your secret sauce. And
Yeah.
we get to work with the companies that are on the higher quality side, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
where it's like, hey, we don't adjust our prices based on the lowest bidder. Like that
Yeah.
isn't us. We work with
Yeah.
who we want to work with, and
Yeah.
but your work has to back that up. And so
Yeah.
you can't just have subpar work and choose what you want to charge there. So
Yeah.
definitely,
You kind of took that, like you put together what I was trying to come
yeah,
up with, was like, for a company that, they have 10 work trucks and excavators and all this stuff and like crazy overhead costs, and then, they're going to do sod and mulch, for example,
Mhm.
right? Like they're going to resod someone's lawn and install mulch. Well, yeah, obviously one's going to be a better job than the other, but that the window of clientele base, I feel like, is just so small to differ the two, that
Mhm.
this guy, who went and bought a $1,500 pickup truck and went to Home Depot or wherever and picked up bags of mulch and bought sod, can do the same thing, right? So
Yeah.
I feel like for them, like it sucks, but that's just the reality of it.
Yeah. So when it comes to the concrete side of things, What do you think separates that, in your opinion, maybe a little bit more? Do you
Yeah.
think it's just the some of the difficulty of it, or the equipment, or what do you think separates that a little bit?
I think it's more just like in a sense, like risk to reward factor.
Mm.
Like for example, um, like you pour concrete and if you don't get it 110% when it's poured, like that's it.
All right, you dirtbags. I want to take one quick second, maybe a couple more, to thank our three wonderful sponsors all at once. So we just do one ad read. And thank you guys for listening to the show. But huge shout out to our three sponsors. You've heard me talk about them many times before. Um, Charlie Huff, the insurance legend when it comes to construction companies. Shoot him a text if you're looking to just compare prices, if you want a free quote, or if you want to just switch over to him because he knows the industry. His cell number, 435-764-4833. That's our guy, Charlie Huff. So many of you guys listening use him. We even use him for our company at Phaser, and he's just a man for the people. So shoot him a text. Of course, let him know you heard him on the Dirtbags podcast. It's always nice to get credit, and for him to, he always shoots me a text with a screenshot and just says, thanks for sending you guys over. But 435-764-4833. Charlie is the man. Massive shout out, of course, to Eljen Corporation. Eljen has been supporting the Dirtbags podcast for a while now. You can check them out on Instagram at Eljen Corporation, or learn more about what they do on their website, eljen.com. Eljen's been supporting us, but also they support our veterans of this wonderful country, and they help place veterans, U.S. veterans into the workplace. And we had that episode, I believe it was episode 94, the 4th of July special with Drew Nicolai, to talk more about Eljen and what they do for the industry, the wastewater, the septic industry, but also what they do for our country. And it is just, we're so honored to get to work with them and so thankful. So reach out to Eljen at Eljen Corporation on Instagram or eljen.com to see if their products are right for you. And finally, huge shout out to our team over at Sludgehammer. This is everyone, Will, Dr. Wickham, the whole team over there has just been absolutely incredible. Excited to spend some time with them in person at MSTA in Michigan. That's right where they're headquartered. And we'll get to spend some time with Eljen there as well. So Sludgehammer, you can go check out their new fancy website, sludgehammer.net. They have all their information on there of how you can become a network partner with them and use their products to have a whole new revenue stream, but also to take care of your clients even better when it comes to advanced septic solutions. So go check them out, sludgehammer.net, or of course, give them a follow on their Instagram at Sludgehammer Group Ltd. Let them know you heard them on the Dirtbags podcast. That is all that we have for our ad reads today. Wanted to try something new, shorten it up a little bit, put them all together, and just thank them and thank you guys for listening to the show as well. So let's get right back to the episode. Appreciate you guys a ton. Like, follow, subscribe, do all that stuff, but let's get right back into it.
There's no lifting it back up and redoing it or,
Yeah.
Replacing it with something else. Like you're jackhammering it out and you're redoing it. So, I don't know. I've always been like a adrenaline junkie, like,
Yeah.
like race snowmobiles, dirt bikes. Like I've always been into that kind of stuff. So like, I don't know if like a bit of that rush I like, but yeah, I
Probably.
feel, yeah, like something to do with that maybe is what I like. But yeah, I don't know. I just, from like an attention to detail and like risk to reward standpoint, I just found as soon as I started doing it, I just found that super rewarding.
Hmm. And then, so let's say your first job, right? And talk to me like I really have no idea.
Yeah.
Who do you call? Like, because you don't have the equipment to pour concrete. So who do you call, or where do you get it, or what do you do to do a small job as your first job?
Yeah. It's funny. Like I remember my first, not big, like now I probably wouldn't even bother with it, but like when I first started, it was a big job. Right. And I remember giving this person the price and thinking like, oh, this is gravy, like this is going to be so awesome. And I remember doing the job. It took me like 3 times longer than I thought. I had like I knew what I knew how to do it, but like I didn't at the same time, right? And like it
Yeah.
still turned out like fine. You know, I brought some people in that would like help me finish it and like make it look nice and things like that. But yeah, like it was kind of go to Home Depot or like go to the like tool supply store locally and like buy all the concrete tools that you need. And then, you know, I was probably day 5 into the job and I already blew the budget on just the tools I needed. But I don't know, you got to start somewhere, I guess.
Classic. Man, that reminds me of my wife and we're fairly handy, right? And so we had done a
Yeah.
lot of home projects and things. And then we had this bathroom and there's this ugly tile. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, we do the plumbing and the electrical. Like, how hard could tile be? And
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever touch tile ever again because same thing with like the Home Depot runs. Like, we made 9 different runs to Home Depot and
Yeah.
we just blew our budget before we
Just
even
on the
have,
wall stuff.
dude, just on the tools. And I was like, man, I respect, especially people tiling. I will
Yeah.
save and pay for that. But yeah, man, there's something about, and you talked about this earlier too, of just the detail and risk to reward and seeing a project through and finishing it. I would
Hmm.
love to hear too, though. And you mentioned like if it's not right, you can't just like pick it up, and so you got to
Yeah.
jackhammer it out there. So
Yeah.
I'll start with that. Has that happened? And tell me a situation and unpack that for me.
Yeah. Surprisingly enough, I was super fortunate that like nothing early, like early when I first started doing it, kind of when I was still more landscaping and doing a little bit of concrete work, nothing was to the point of like that's terrible. It's got to get ripped out.
Yeah.
But like it's funny enough, like I think it was two years ago now, we ripped out our first job we'd ever ripped out. And like I always hear the horror stories of like you pour concrete, you're going to rip a job out. And you know, it's obviously it's always in the back of your head every time you kind of do it, right? Like, oh, I really hope this one goes well. But yeah, it was a couple years ago. We ripped out our first job, and it wasn't even because the customer was like unsatisfied. It was just I've built this reputation on myself,
Mhm.
and I just take such pride in like the business and my name and what we stand behind that I said to the guys like it was a super anyone who's poured concrete is going to know what I'm talking about. It was a super hot day. The sun was like beaming. We're all sweating like crazy, grinding away, and like everything was going great. And then like the snap of fingers, it doesn't, and the concrete started taking off. And again, it wasn't bad, but I just stepped back afterwards, and I literally called the homeowner. I said, "Hey, give me a call." Like they weren't home there at work. Hey, give me a call when you get home, like I'll come back over and talk with you. And they seemed super happy on it. And I just said, look, I can't leave my name on this.
Mm.
Like we got to redo it. And they looked at me like I had 3 heads, and I was kind of questioning myself in the moment. But funny enough, that job that we did that at actually paid off and turned into more work down the road. But
Wow.
that was my first experience with jackhammering out 2 loads of concrete and loading up dump trucks and redoing it all over again.
Man, that is so cool. I didn't expect that to be your first one, and
Yeah,
I would love to take a moment to hear maybe what lesson you learned or what advice you'd give to somebody listening, because that is just something that, like you said, the homeowner looks at you like you had 3 heads, but
yeah,
you're 5 years in business and you go back and you do that. Like, what advice would you have for somebody listening based off of that story?
yeah. I mean, I think it all depends on like what kind of a business you want to run and what kind of reputation you want to have, right? Like I know a lot of companies around us. I'm not going to bash anyone, but there's certain people that just don't hold their self to the as high of a standard, right? And that's fine. And some people, that's just their standard, and like there's certain customers that are fine with that. But I think just standing behind what you do, like regardless of what you do, and like I'm only 5 years into this. I'm far from a professional. Like I'm sure there's people that have been doing it 10 times longer than I have and they might laugh, but it's just taking pride in what you do and standing behind what you do. And in my opinion, if you're in business just to worry about money and dollars and cents, like there's way easier ways to make money quick and gross if that's all you're after. But I think like long term wise, it's going to pay off in the end to just, stand behind what you do and take pride in what you do.
Yeah, man, that's so awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I think what a great example of running your own business, because most business mentors and owners you talk to wouldn't tell you to do that. That's not in the business owner manual.
Mm-hmm.
But you're running your own business. You said, hey, that's I'm gonna go do this. We're gonna go tear this out. And what a moment for them too, of just like, who, what is this guy doing? Like they're happy with it. But then,
Yeah.
like you said, and I love this thought of just the power of reciprocity, and like whatever you do, you're just adding value to others no matter what, without thinking of
Mm-hmm.
what's going to come down the line. But you focusing on wanting to tear that out, and then just because you're putting your name on it, it can be better. And
Yeah,
then it actually results in work down the road. Like that
for
is
sure.
that power of reciprocity. And it always seems to come back when you treat it that way. And it's
Yeah,
just the better, and business is such a long game too.
it
And
is.
your name is going to be on this stuff for decades,
Mm-hmm.
and your reputation is really the only thing that's going to hold through all of these
Mm-hmm.
years. And so
Mm-hmm.
your reputation can be one of the best things you have, and it can be one of the worst. And so
For
how do you
sure.
want to tackle that?
For sure. Yeah. As you know too, like even just with social media stuff nowadays, it's like, yeah, the world's a crazy big place, but it is like it's such a small world. I even know that like just growing up locally, right? It's people you'd never imagine, circling back with that you knew from when you were younger, connections and mutual friends and things. Yeah, I think standing behind it and looking at it from that aspect will just take you so much farther than being the guy of, oh, I'll throw the money in my pocket and carry on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we talked a little bit about this, but I'd love to dive in a little more. So, the concrete side, it's the big portion of your business.
Mm-hmm.
You also mentioned there's an excavation or a groundwork side.
Yeah.
Is that mainly to set up the concrete work for yourself, or what type of excavation work are you involved in?
Yeah, so here in Canada, obviously, because we have winter, there's frost in the ground,
Hmm.
and that plays a huge factor into like the excavation prep work that goes into concrete.
Hmm.
So, somewhere where you don't have frost is a different, like it's different than here, right? So, in here, for instance, if you were to cut corners and just like you could go to Florida where it's a super sandy ground and, get rid of the grass, put up some wood forms, like form everything up, put some rebar wire mesh and pour it and, you know, probably be okay. But here with the frost, there's just so much more prep work that goes into concrete. So like stripping all the organic material out before like down to clay or down to like sand or gravel or depending on obviously where you're working, what you're doing, like stripping all the base out before you're putting the gravel in. So like most of the time here, a lot of the prep work that goes into concrete is like it's honestly 80% of it over the concrete work because the prep's just so important for the job to be done right and last properly. That like the excavation work itself is like a heavy part of prepping for all our concrete work.
So up in Canada, do you take do you guys are you guys able to work year round with what you do, or how does that piece work?
I mean, yeah, it kind of depends on the winter time. Like typically
Mhm.
rule of thumbs, like once frost is in the ground, that's when we stop.
Okay.
Some
Yeah.
commercial jobs or like certain jobs you can put, like heated tarps and run heaters and avoid that a little bit. Or I know a lot of guys who pour like walls, like foundations and stuff like that. That's strictly all they do, and they can get away with working through the winter a little bit more. But
Mhm.
it's hard here with the winter months. Like depending on the winter time, we usually fire up like April, May, and
Okay.
then we're usually wide open until October, November, sometimes December. Like a couple years ago, we were pouring concrete. I think it was a couple years ago we were pouring concrete like right before Christmas, which is
Wow.
like that's unheard of here. But then this winter, for instance, like we were wide open, and then it snapped. Like we were on a site actually this winter, and it started snowing, and we're like, uh oh, we gotta wrap this up here.
Oh man. And then what kind of jobs are you doing now? Is it commercial? Is it residential? What kind of concrete jobs are you doing?
I would say we're like 50-50.
Okay.
50-50 commercial residential. Like anything from basic driveways, sidewalks, patios, stairs, you know, garage floors, shop floors, and then commercial, similar sort of thing, like floors, sidewalks, curbs, wheelchair accessible ramps,
Mm.
kind of the same sort of thing, but just 50% commercial, 50% residential.
Yeah. As you've grown and gone through the years, is that kind of just let me collect myself here. Well,
Yeah.
as you're going through business, do you have a strategy to go one way or the other, or does it depend on kind of what comes in
It's
between
hard.
residential and commercial?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a bit of both. Like, um, I think a lot of people, myself included, who are new to it are like, oh my gosh, commercials so awesome. Like you
Mm.
get to work on these big jobs and like you make so much money and like your signs are on the fencing that everyone's driving by and like don't get me wrong, like it is kind of like a step back, wow, this is cool factor. But like myself, I learned quickly that it's not all gravy, like when it
Mm.
comes to that, like as far as like when we do standard residential work, we provide a contract and like the contract signed and deposits, and it's not that you can't get taken advantage of in residential, but it's a little bit more straightforward. Whereas once you get
Mhm.
into commercial work, you're dealing with drawings and engineers and inspections and like compaction tests, and it's just so much more detailed. And like with commercial work, sometimes like we have certain forms and things like that in Ontario. I know it's different other places, but we have certain forms and things like that in Ontario where if you were to bid a commercial job and you get awarded the job, like you don't give them a contract. They actually send you their terms and you have to sign off and agree on that.
Mhm.
And sometimes that's okay, there's potential of a holdback because of like a defect in the work, or as you know, most excavation guys are the first ones on site, and
Yep.
oftentimes, we're part of that, and like the foundation of the concrete work gets done long before the framing and the finishing and the windows and the doors and everything else. So, like you get into a commercial job and
Mhm.
you're 30, 60, 90 like plus days to get paid. So, I understand how the commercial work once you're bigger is feasible, but unless you have, you know, a crazy amount of money saved up, or you have maybe family that's super invested in your business or something like that, to the point of you can afford to not get paid for that long, it's super hard to just do commercial work. I almost feel like it's nice having 50-50 because the
Yeah.
residential in a sense almost feeds the cash flow of commercial.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to touch on here too. Is uh, we we always hear it too. Is sometimes with construction companies, the biggest killer of a construction company is success. Like the
Yeah,
bigger jobs you get, typically you run into cash flow issues, and
yeah.
yeah, because especially if you're going from residential to commercial, that's like one
Hmm.
of the harder jumps.
Yeah.
It's a bit easier, obviously, if it's a smaller commercial job, but
Hmm.
the you're right. Like a lot of the people we work with, they're more in the some type of 60-40, seventy
Yeah.
30, 50
Yeah.
50
Yeah.
into commercial and residential because not everyone, especially when you've been in business 3, 4, 5, 6 years, you don't
Hmm.
have the credit, you don't have the
Yeah.
equity, you don't have
Yeah.
really the money
Yeah.
quite yet
Yeah.
to be able to float some of these projects. And so, and you mentioned the holdback. Would that be the same as retainage, like a percentage that they could hold at the end if it doesn't see completion?
Yeah, so like some commercial projects, like usually what obviously they're all different, but like most of the
Hmm.
time with commercial projects, you'll submit your bid, if you get awarded the bid. Once you get awarded the bid, then they'll oftentimes send over all the paperwork, and then that's when you need your proof of insurance and
Hmm.
like your WSIB and like all your liability, like to make sure that you're actually a legitimate company. And like that alone is, you know, depending on the project size, like you can spend like my admin will spend days
Mm.
just submitting all the forms and things like that to even get it going. And that's such a startup process. And then yeah, as part of the forms I was saying earlier, as far as holdbacks go, like there'll be like say for example there's a $1 million project, right, and the portion of work that we're doing gets completed in the first month or two, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a 1 year long project or 2 year long project. A lot of the times they will have a whole like a total holdback on the job until like the interior designers, like the guys
Oh
for
my
bringing
gosh.
carpets and couches and things like that, and like then the owner or then that payment gets released to everybody. So it's
Wow.
sometimes with things like that, even though it has nothing to do with you, that like you're waiting on stuff like that, which that's just part of the commercial game. But for people who might not know that or understand that, it's yeah, it's a totally different ball game. Not from a work standpoint necessarily,
Mm-hmm.
but from like a back end standpoint, it's definitely more work.
Yeah. And I wonder too, just as you start working in bigger companies, bigger GCs, bigger commercial
Mhm.
projects, I can imagine that depending on who you're working with, there's probably a lot of politics at the top of
Yeah.
just who gets paid when and when we're
Yeah. Oh yeah.
releasing it. And yeah, it's so interesting because your leverage as a sub
Hmm.
typically is much less than the GC. And I guess it depends on the competition in the area and how many people are bidding as well. But
For sure.
and probably part of it too is like what you can afford to not take in terms of
Yeah.
the job.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's waiting on the interior designers to get the plants right and get the carpet right. And
Yeah. Yeah.
you're just like, man, this is it usually somewhere in like the 5, 10, 15% range or
Yeah, it varies based on like the projects and stuff, but yeah, typically it's somewhere in there, which
that's the
you have a
profit.
decent sized job, and yeah, like yeah, it's and then you have half a dozen of them all rolling at the same time over the course of the
Mhm.
summer, and you're like, I don't have a whole lot of money left right now, and it's like it gets scary for sure.
Yeah. So let's talk about that for a little bit. The on the cash flow side of things, we talk a lot about it on the show, but like, how do you, Taylor, know how, like, in this, like you said, you're mowing and then landscaping and then
Yeah.
some concrete. Like, how do you know about these cash flow cycles and how do you know how to combat them and compete with your own business to make sure that you have enough money moving forward? Like, how did you learn that and how are you still learning that?
Yeah, I learned the hard way,
Yeah.
for sure. Like, you're young in business and you see the big check coming to the bank account and you get excited. And, I was fortunate enough that I never went too crazy, but, you really have to think long term in that sense. And I think even just when I was younger and doing, like I was telling you before, doing some of
Mhm.
the jobs of, oh, I got all this money, and then you know basic life rules of, okay, well, your credit card's due and it's more than the paycheck you got,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah.
yeah, like I think just common like hard time knowledge of learning over the years, and like I'm still learning, and I'm still, I guess you could say, extremely not extremely, but like I'm still very uneducated compared to a lot of people. But I think everything just happens so fast in business in a sense.
Mhm.
It sounds a little bit like kind of wild and arrogant, but you kind of have to just, you probably heard of the saying, like, bite more, like take a huge bite and chew like hell. And it is kind of true in a sense. Like you can take that too far, but yeah, it's just, you learn the hard ways and how to do things over years of business, and going through it all. Like you learn pretty quick what you can and can't do, and how to manage everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you keep growing too, like your projects typically get bigger and the money gets bigger and the problems usually get a little bigger
For
or a
sure.
lot bigger. And
Yeah.
It's just, but you take what you learned in the previous years and bring them forward so that you have a
Yeah.
foundation to stand on to address these bigger problems. And I
Yeah.
think most people know this, especially entrepreneurs, is, when you go into business and you are the business owner and you're the entrepreneur, like one of our main jobs is putting out fires and
Yeah.
breaking bottlenecks.
Yeah.
What does change as our businesses grow is the size of fire grows, and that ideally.
Hmm.
So as an owner, as you keep growing, you'll start out putting like little trash can fires, and then you'll graduate up with a team and you'll start putting out dumpster fires while your team puts out the trash can fires. Then you
Yeah.
keep going up to where eventually, you're putting out house fires and so
Yeah.
forth. So,
Yeah.
but no matter what, you're always going to be firefighting. You're always going to be solving problems. You're always going to be fixing things. And that's what we're called to do. Otherwise, I mean, I don't know if a business can even last or survive in this market, in any business, if you're not continuously improving or continuously trying to fix things.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. And I think that's like going back to the concrete, like not even just concrete specifically, but you know, I'm almost my own worst enemy because I used to think back these like back in the day, I say like a couple of years ago, I think, oh, I want all this equipment and I want guys and I want to be on these big jobs and I want to
Mhm.
do all this stuff like anyone else. And then, I'm here now and it's in the middle of the summer and I'm 80 or 90 hours deep into a week and it's like I'm going home basically to eat, shower, and go to sleep for 2 or 3 hours and do it all over again. And I'm like, oh, this is like, is this really what I want to do? Like I'm insane, but like I don't know, I kind of get, not that I want to do it forever, but I kind of get like a rush out of it, like it's the race, like it never stops, and it, like you run your own business. Everyone knows that. People are always, they see the shiny equipment and the nice truck and all this stuff and oh, it must be nice and all this, you must be doing so good. You've got all this stuff. And it's like, man, you have no clue. Like the
Yeah.
the amount of effort and hours and time that goes into this, and like I live it and breathe it, and I absolutely love what I do. Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't trade it for anything, um, but yeah, like it's a 24/7 ordeal. Like it doesn't turn off.
Yeah. I think a lot of it too, man, is like you're saying, it's a lot of it's the mindset you go into the day with because you're respectfully like going to battle every single day. And
Yeah.
like, what mindset are we going? Are we going like we're fired up to just tackle these problems and absolutely
Hmm.
destroy the day? Or are we quite a bit more passive and just like get destroyed by every single problem? And when what I've noticed too, especially as you grow, is like the financial, uh, just the numbers can become difficult, but
Yeah.
more than that is the weight of
Hmm.
everything. So the
Hmm.
weight, because it's pretty easy when it's just yourself and
Oh
it's just
yeah.
yourself to worry about. Because if you make mistakes or if you can't make payroll or all that stuff, it's not a big deal because
Yeah.
it is a big deal at the time,
Yeah.
but it's just your life. But when you start adding in team members and families
Yeah.
of those team
Yeah.
members and you're supporting their life, you're
Yeah.
like, it's no longer about me. It's
Yeah.
this has to work. And so like that weight can crush somebody of
100%.
when all of these issues stack up, when things aren't going great, when you try like every single day to just bring a great attitude. And somebody asked me that the other day. They're like, do you, I can't remember how he said it. He was just like, have you ever been upset in a day, or like have you ever been not your positive self during a work day? I'm like, dude, absolutely. Like, are you
Yeah.
kidding me? And but I try to have more of the positive days than not, right? And so, but there are days that will absolutely like chew you up and spit you out. And
Yeah.
I guess just shooting from the hip, I guess my main goal is to have more better days than worse days.
Yeah.
But man, there's when you start adding people in your organization and you start feeding their families, it can be tough. And but on under the same breath, it's one of the most exciting and rewarding things as well. And like I see you feel that, I
Yeah.
feel it, and it's like, man, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
No. And I think that's like the most overlooked thing is, it sounds cheesy, but like, yeah, I feel cheesy saying this, but
Do it.
not everyone's built for it, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's like some people think they are, and then they get into it and it's just not for everyone. And like, I totally respect that. Like, I get it. Some people, they want the routine, like they just can't do it, and it is like, it's a different game when you're wide open all day long, 7 days a week.
Yeah, man. Just life wide open.
Yeah,
Not to
exactly.
steal the Sea Boys saying, but
Oh yeah, for sure.
man, that's so cool. What so give us another picture of, kind of where you guys are at today in terms of
Yeah.
equipment and team and like
Mhm.
any sort of, how does your organization run? Maybe we'll
Yeah.
start there. Like what does a day look like?
Yeah, so we've got I've got a single axle Peterbilt dump truck
Mhm.
and a float trailer, and that hauls around our 3-ton John Deere excavator 30G, and we've got a Deere 317 skid steer, and that's kind of like our main, I guess you could say, excavation setup.
Mhm.
And then we've got a Dodge 4500, like a mini dump truck,
Mhm.
with like the fold down sides and everything, and that carries around our enclosed trailer. And kind of like I said, I'm super OCD and organized, and
Yes.
that trailer, after all the years of trying, cube vans and ProMaster vans and pickup trucks, and like I love that van. Like even the guys that work for me, like we all love the enclosed trailer, sorry, because it's just we've got it kitted out. Like it's got racking in it. It holds all our forming, like all our
Uh-huh.
forms, all our concrete finishing tools, all our power tools, all our Milwaukee stuff. Like everything is organized. It's all in there. Because we always used to do the typical, oh, throw everything in the truck we need, and then you get to saying, oh, I forgot this, and I'll run back to the shop, and I had enough of that. So, yeah, it's good. Like our setup we have now is we've kind of got it down to a. I always keep changing and trying to figure out better ways to do
Mhm.
things, but for right now, for like how many guys we have and everything we're doing, it works out super good. Of kind of an excavation like dig machine based vehicle setup, and then like our concrete finishing vehicle setup, and then that kind of gives like two forms of transportation depending on what we're doing, if we're all on one site or on different sites. I forget who it was. I think I was on like a Facebook group or something the other day, and people were commenting like pictures of trailer setups, and
Yeah.
I commented like a little blurb on like what you should do, and they're like, everyone was replying like, this guy sounds like he's got it figured out, but he's got no pictures of the inside of the
Dude, we got to
trailer.
see
So
pictures or it doesn't exist.
yeah,
And
I'll definitely get into that. We're kind of in like, because it's our slower season, like right now, obviously being in the wintertime, we usually take time this time of the year to kind of, do some inventory and
yep.
reorganize everything. So yeah, once I get that done, I'll definitely
Cool.
send some pictures over.
Yeah, send me some pictures if it's by the time this episode comes out, which it should be. We'll put
Yeah,
it in the episode here. We'll have
yeah,
Brandon put it in, and
yeah.
yeah, because it's funny. Because James Stixma, who's a great friend of mine, like his trailer is immaculate, but he's
He's the
always
septic guy, isn't he?
yep Canadian
Yeah, yeah,
Septic,
yeah. I think I
and
remember listening to that episode.
yeah, and I was just with him this week. He came down to Arizona. This is his
Hmm.
first time here, and we were at an operations workshop together, which
Yeah.
talked about things like this, but to a 10x degree, like where
Hmm.
every wrench and they foam board things, not James, but the guy we were talking to. So anytime you open the toolbox, like everything has a place, and
That's unreal.
it needs to be so obvious that
Yeah.
uh, if you just look, you can see if something's out of place, and
Yeah.
everything is color coded, and
Yeah.
more importantly too, it's color coded on where it needs to go. So if it's ever removed, somebody knows exactly where it goes. But it,
I'm not there yet, but
yeah,
that's down the pipeline for sure.
but the point of all that and all of this conversation is you have to start somewhere. And
Hmm.
I'm sure there's a group of people listening right now that's like, hey, it's better than what I got. Like, let me see what you
Yeah.
got. Let me see.
Yeah.
Let's get some ideas. And if I remember right, I think what James did too is he had the build out and the dimensions and how people could build it out themselves.
Yeah. Hmm.
But yeah, man, it's just keeping it so simple so that you're not wasting time going back to the trailer, going to Home
Yeah.
Depot, going back to the shop, and just
Yeah.
limiting those movements, limiting those
Yeah.
turns. And
Yeah.
as they said this week too, it's like you shouldn't have to think about where something is ever. You should just be thinking
Hmm.
about the work itself only.
Yeah.
And yeah, so just the organization of it is almost fascinating, I think.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see different setups.
Yeah, I almost sometimes feel like a little bit crazy. Like we'll go to the supply store and like the yard guys open up the trailer and they're like, "Holy crap, man! Like this is insane. Like why do you guys have such a big trailer? Why is it so organized?" And it's just like, I don't know. Like I was there once before too, just firing everything in the back of a pickup truck. But it's like something as simple as, hey, blah, 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 go get this out of the pickup truck. And then they come
Yep.
back and they're like, hey, I can't find it. And then, well, he goes to Home Depot and then he spends, half an hour going to Home Depot and then he buys the tape measure. And then, the other guy goes and does the same thing. And it's like, next thing you know, you're, 3 or 4 hours deep in a work week of sending guys to go buy tools. And now you have four of the same tools that you already have.
Yeah.
And there's just no system in place on like organize and like it's not perfect. Like, we have a crazy hectic week and like the guys even know like we get back to the shop on the Friday and we're like, this is a Monday problem. Like we've
Yeah.
worked a long week. We'll deal with it on Monday. Like I'm not saying it doesn't get chaotic, but yeah, I don't know. Like in my opinion, it's just I'm always just thinking trying to improve like
Hmm.
efficiency and like just having systems in place. So it's like, phone calls don't have to be made, questions don't have to be made. Like you said, everything's got its own place.
Hmm.
And then I also just think too, like that all relates back to like down the road, right? Like you have more employees, and then the
Hmm.
guys that already work for you already have such a good understanding. It's easy to teach them, and then it just keeps everyone else in good habits. And then, okay, maybe I have 5 crews, and then I mirror image this trailer again.
Yep.
And then you have a guy working in your yard that's stocking the trailer. Well, how is he supposed to stock a trailer if he doesn't even know what's in there, where it's going, right? So it's like, it's just a domino effect of, you know, it's simple, like simple little stuff of just efficiency and like having things organized. Like it blows my mind, I guess now that I'm there, how overlooked that is in
Yeah.
like the industry.
It's what really helps me look at certain things like that is remove yourself from and remove communication, right? So
Yeah.
remove
Yeah.
yourself from the job site, right? And think, does this person know where everything is no matter what, even if it's a new person? Like,
Yeah.
could they just find it? Can they
Yeah.
get everything they need? And a lot of times too, we just rely on communication. Like, hey, I'll
Yeah.
give somebody a call, I'll go ask somebody and all that.
Yeah.
But can you eliminate that? And this is just step one. This is just organization in the trailer. Like this,
Yeah.
we can just spend a week on organizing that, find a place for everything. And then, like you said too, Taylor, it's another way to think of it too is as you scale, like what as we
Yeah.
copy and paste these trailer setups, how does the guy stocking it know where things go? Like let's just uh, replicate this so it is
Yeah.
repeatable and that we
Yeah.
can look uniform across the board and we know
For sure.
where everything goes. So I just think it's such a great place to start, especially
Hmm.
since everyone's in the field. But
Yeah.
have there been any other efficiencies you've found in your business as you've gone along here to either organize or clean up or just become more efficient as you've grown?
Yeah. So I'm actually in the middle right now of I guess kind of spill the beans a little bit. I'm in the middle of
Breaking
working.
news. Breaking news.
Yeah,
Let's
I
do it.
wouldn't call it breaking news,
Come on now.
but I'm in the middle of working with a consultant right now, kind of like a consultant slash mentor.
Hmm.
And this guy's just like I thought I was OCD and organized, and he just
Yeah.
brings things to like such a different level. It's mind blowing. And kind of what we were talking about of trailer organization,
Mm-hmm.
truck organization, shop organization, having systems in place for absolutely everything. So, it starts as simple as kind of what we're talking about. And then this all relates back to your estimating software. How
Mm-hmm.
complicated is your estimating software? Like, if I'm the only person that can estimate, how is the business ever, it goes back to, are you working in the business, or are you working, like, are you working in, what's that? How does that one saying go? It's like, are you working for the business, or I'm stumbling
Yeah.
here.
Like, are you working in the business or on the business?
Yeah, exactly. And that's like the biggest thing. And like I said, I'm still trying to figure this out. I'm by no means a professional, but I just talking to him, like, everything relates back to it, right? The coding software, and then the coding software relates back to how do you communicate with your team, and
Mm-hmm.
expectations and organization and processes and how things are done
Mm-hmm.
so they're done
Mm-hmm.
efficiently. And back to like I said before, this all relates back to stocking your shop, stocking your yard. You're
Yeah.
eliminating the Home Depot runs, like all this stuff is, it seems so tedious, and some people might call it stupid and dumb, but it's that I have this whole new, he's kind of made me have this whole new outlook on everything. And it's like, now that I kind of have rewired my brain in a sense of this way, it's like I look at these businesses that have been around for so
Mm-hmm.
long, and you can tell it's kind of like an organized gong show. And it's like, how do you, like, I don't know, how do you operate a business like that, And maybe that, I think the whole reason I kind of got on to talking to this guy and going through this whole process is I've just gotten to the point now where it's every day is like, I'm up at 4 a.m. doing quotes for 2 hours to meet the guys at the shop, or be at the shop at 6. So I'm ready
Mm-hmm.
for the guys when they get there at 6:30. And then, we're grinding away all day long. And then I'm getting home at, 8, 9 o'clock. And then I'm doing more quotes. And then, oh shit, I don't, oh
Dude, you can
shoot.
let her fly. I mean, come,
uh,
it's the dirt
oh,
bags.
Oh shit, I had a quote today that I was supposed to be at, and then that makes me look bad, and I'm dropping the ball, and it's just like, whoa, I got to slow down here. Like, this is just
Mm-hmm.
insanity. And it's not that I don't want to work hard, but it's like all this stuff could be like all these variables could be eliminated if the right systems were in place. And if the right systems are in place, then you can delegate tasks to other
Yeah.
people, right? Like, I don't need to be sitting, like, running the excavator, talking on my phone, trying to load a dump truck. Concrete's going to be here in 2 hours, like organized chaos. Like, my secretary can reply to emails to schedule quotes.
Yeah.
um, you know, Someone else can make orders for next week. Like, that stuff can all be done, but none of that can be done if the systems aren't in place and everything's not organized properly. So, like I said, it all just comes back to the same thing.
It does, man. And you mentioned it just quickly a little bit earlier, and you said, some people might think that's stupid and dumb. And you're talking about organization in your business and delegating and cleaning
Yeah.
things up. And I just want to say that, like, if anyone thinks that's stupid and dumb, like, kind of going back to run your own business, like, you probably shouldn't be listening to that person. And
Yeah.
because this is, I would say, about as obvious as it gets. And, or hang out with other people. And
hmm
the, because that is just the basics of, like, yeah,
Yeah.
let's clean this up. Like, let's how does a company ahead of me, let's say 20 or 50 or $100 million company that is successful and profitable and has a great culture, how do they do it? Let's take a look
Yeah.
under the hood. And I think that's really, really helped. It's helped me, but it's also helped a ton of the companies we work with, is not just guessing, but seeing what other companies are doing that they aspire to be like.
Yeah.
And then they see, like, oh wow, this is your process for it. Or, oh, you have a
Yeah.
process for everything. You have,
Yeah.
let me see your onboarding, and you start
Yeah.
to look at how they do things. Let me see your estimating software. Let me see your CRM.
Yeah.
And if I were to just guess, like, most of the ones that are successful and profitable and have a great culture, they're probably pretty dialed in on their organization.
Yeah, 100%. And I think in a sense, like maybe this is just myself, but like, I grew up like small town, 600 people. Like, I went to school with like, you know, more like, redneck style, like lifestyle than, city born type thing. And
Mhm.
I think like a lot of it comes back to, blue collar, dirty hands, work your ass off. And, the harder you work, the more successful you're going to be. And don't get me
Mhm.
wrong, like you got to work hard, but I think there's just so much. Maybe it's just in our industry of, excavating and concrete and hardscaping because you're not suit and tie sitting at a desk like Excel spreadsheet organization, but like it all does relate back to that kind of stuff, like
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like a lot of people think of what all, people think, oh, well, shiny trucks and fancy stuff and work your ass off and get as much work. Like, yeah, that's all great. And like, don't get me wrong, that's important to have that kind of stuff. But like at the end of the day, you can only go so far with that too,
Yeah.
right?
Well, especially as you're growing and you need to buy more equipment and you need to increase your efficiency and you need to pay people and
Yeah.
there's bills to pay and like a lot of this is just you could use that same word or the same conversation and apply it to any part of the business. Cash
Yeah.
flow. We want to
Yeah.
organize our finances and organize our WIP reports and organize so we know what's going on and we know where things go and
Yeah.
any part of the business and you could use the same conversation. So yeah, it's one of the basics. And like you said too, it's a lot of times it's overlooked, but that doesn't mean you can't go back and start fixing things because as we've talked about before, like you're always going to be fixing things. So this should be
Yeah.
continuous improvement always. And by the time you get all these systems implemented, and if you keep scaling, you're going to
Yeah.
be due for some new ones as well. So like
Yeah. For
things will
sure.
con- things will continue to break as you break glass ceilings in your company, and that's what we're trained to do. It's like we scale, we break ceilings, and now we need new systems because now
Yeah.
we're at a $5 million company. We can't run on a
Yeah.
$2 million company systems.
For
You
sure.
keep going, you break things, and then it's like okay, $10 million company. We have to keep changing things. So it's really cool to see as companies keep growing, like how they not change but improve and just keep
Yeah.
adjusting and that's who we saw this week was Zach Estes. He's an operations guru, and he
Yeah.
just laid into all this operations for construction companies, and
Yeah.
it was just fascinating, man. It was really really cool.
I like it. It sounds weird, but don't get me wrong. Like I love running equipment and I love pouring concrete. Like it's badass. It's super cool. It's super rewarding. But like honestly, in the past year, I've just found like not even a year, like maybe 6 months to a year. I've just found such a new like interest in like the back end side of the business. Like I just find it so interesting, like
Mm,
rather than me being young and being, okay, well, I made some money this year. Let's just go buy some equipment. And hopefully it all
hmm
works out. It's like, you have to have such a good grip on like what's your overhead costs and what's your unbillable income. And, people don't think about that stuff. And then they wonder why they struggle with cash flow. And obviously there's a million other reasons. And I'm still trying to figure that out too. But, yeah, it's just there's so much more to it. I just find it so interesting and cool, like how everything just relates to each other and like trying to build this well-oiled machine. Like that's what I love. Like it's the coolest thing.
Yeah, it's fascinating, man. And it's really cool to now that you have your own business that is a few years in and there
Mm-hmm.
are numbers to move around and there are people to move around and equipment and things to learn. Like that's what I found is it's so exciting because you've already done the part of starting and like doing the work. And now it's like, okay, now
Yeah,
how can we continuously improve? And yeah, and I think that's just one of the really exciting things about business is, we're always improving. We're always working to get better. So diving into that. And if it's not so much like everyone in the business should be trying to improve, but if it's not the owner, like somebody has to be addressing the back end side of the business.
for sure, for sure. And I think
Yeah.
that's what's tough too, right? Is it's
Hmm.
finding that time and taking that leap of faith, like which I'm kind of in the middle of right now of, you know, I'd way rather be just sitting in a machine and just having a blast digging holes and pouring concrete. But
Yep.
like taking that leap of faith of taking that next step to start, having systems in place and building the business long term. So, and I think it kind of gets misread. People think, oh, well, he's not in the field and he doesn't want to get dirty and work the long hours. But like, I want to do all this stuff so I can continue to grow, so I can, hire more guys and, they can be more successful and like everything's in place. So, you can charge the right pricing and they can make more money and everyone's life's
Hmm.
easier. And like, that's my goal.
Yeah. That's so awesome, man. Tell me more about this last fall. So fall 2025.
Yeah.
Obviously you mentioned too, like going into winter, you guys usually stop, but like what did the fall do for you guys in terms of business and yourself?
Yeah, it's been a weird couple years for us. Like during the whole kind of like COVID thing, things went crazy. Like where we are with work, like just so much work. Like, I don't know if it was people were at home and weren't going on vacation and had more money to spend at home, or because there was such a high demand, like more businesses started. Like I don't know what it was, but it was crazy there for like a year. And then I think it kind of went back to reality, and
Yeah.
it was more, treat go the extra step to treat customers really well and take care of people that you've been with. And um, not that we were slow, but like it wasn't a crazy year for us
Hmm.
last year. It was kind of just mediocre. Like we stayed busy. We had a couple long weeks and stuff due to weather crunches and stuff, but yeah, we just kind of we submitted a bid on a job that was supposed to happen in the middle of summer, later in the summer, and it
Hmm.
kind of got sprung on us that we were awarded the job like end of summer, fall,
Oh,
and
wow.
it was one of the bigger jobs we've ever done, and it was a super cool project, but it was just kind of like holy shit,
Hmm.
not that we've been just coasting steady, but it was like, holy crap, like this is a big job and we're on a
Yeah.
time crunch and we got to get it done. So yeah, this fall was insane. Like I was, I mean, the guys I gave a little bit more of a break, but like even them, like we were working 12, 15 hours a day, 5 days a week. And then I was going in on Saturdays and Sundays to, pluck away for 8 or 10 hours just so it was manageable the following
Hmm.
Monday. And then I kind of told you we ran into, snow, and then we ran into some implications on the job with poor base when we were digging for footings and walls and things like that. So like engineers we had to listen to engineers and change things, and it was like everything was getting thrown at us
Hmm.
that could possibly get thrown at us with this time crunch. And typically that's when we wind down and do shop maintenance and get everything ready for snow clearing and stuff. And
Yeah.
then it was like, holy crap, we got no time. So yeah, the fall was just like beyond wide open. It was probably like the craziest month and a half we've ever had.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Would you would you have changed anything?
Um, I don't think so. I definitely need to hire more people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
And
just some more
kind of
help.
like, yeah, hire some more help, and kind of like I talked about, just delegating some more tasks rather than just
Hmm.
trying to do everything myself and run around like a chicken with my head cut off all the time.
Hmm. Yeah. I think what that does though is it allows you to see where some of the leaks are in your business. And I talk about that all the time, but it's hard. You can't find the leaks when there's no pressure. And this fall, like probably before that, there wasn't much pressure, right? You guys are just like
Hmm.
kind of going. You're not as
Yeah,
great of a year, like you said, a little mediocre, but you're not really improving anything or fixing anything. So, but when there's that pressure, all of a sudden you see, okay, in this situation, when I was going, 12 or 16 hours, maybe I could have shaved off a couple hours if I sent this person to do that. And
yeah,
maybe we could have got it done a little quicker if we did this. Or so I think, yeah, as challenging as it sounds like it probably was, you said I wouldn't change anything. So there's a
Yeah,
lot to learn from that. And it's hard to learn when there's no pressure and there's no risk.
for
And
sure. If it's not scary, like I always think if you're not scared, you're not like you're not pushing hard enough, you know?
yeah, it's not big enough. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
right? It's just, and the, I think we all talk about ceiling or maybe levels to business or ceilings, and
Yeah.
you scale up to 2 million and then five or whatever. But
Hmm. Hmm.
I think one of the traps that a lot of us entrepreneurs fall into, and I believe they talk about it in the 2 to 5 million range, is complacency. You're making money, you have a team, we're doing well, we've got good relationships, good contracts, and we get complacent. And I just thought that was, or I think that's so interesting because I can see it even in myself sometimes, and I can see it in others around me. And I'm 30 years old. I'm like, what? I have no reason to be complacent. Like I
Yeah.
need to go, and we need to break some stuff here. So,
Yeah.
um, and sometimes our team doesn't like that, but intentionally breaking things and applying pressure so that we can continue to fix things and get better. So I
Yeah.
just, it's something that you don't think is going to be an issue is complacency and comfort, but
Yeah.
it absolutely is for certain business owners.
Yeah. And I think kind of like going off of what you said too, like even last year, you know, we weren't crazy busy, but like we were
Mm-hmm.
busy enough. It wasn't like we were, you know, had days where we weren't doing anything. Like we still
Right.
had work. And then, you know, at the end of the year, I'm going, well, you know, maybe I made like maybe that was my bad, and like I should have been more adamant on like, you know, hiring an extra guy or two. So instead of all of us working, you know, 12 or 15-hour days, you know, we could bring on a couple more guys and we could all just work 6, 7 or 8 hour days and like not kill ourselves, you know, like stuff like that. So yeah, I think you're right when it comes to having the pressure on you. It definitely makes you think differently. But then I'm going back to, well, what if we don't have work next year and then I can't keep
Mm-hmm.
them busy, right? Like it's a it's a ball you're always trying to keep in one place.
Yeah, and there's no perfect answer either. And but what it does is just opens your eyes to new situations. And we were talking about this last week, but trying to figure out really when it comes to hiring of as you're growing and scaling your company, it's like how do you figure out how many guys to have as like bench depth of guys ready to go that are trained up,
Yeah.
but also like you have to protect your profit as well. You can't just lose money every month. So
Hmm.
kind of balancing act of like we need people ready to go, but at the same time we can't just overhire if there's no work.
Yeah.
And
Have you ever have you ever thought of that? Like you think of like what you do with your podcast and
Mhm.
like the whole dirt big thing. Like, do you ever think of maybe expanding to the point of like other people doing podcasts, or you always want to keep that super legitimate, like you're the face of the podcast and like that's your thing?
Dude, great question. So I think by the time this episode comes out, we'll have told more information on it, but we
Yeah.
have brought in other hosts. So kind of the model I'm looking at is I was thinking about this today. That's crazy you asked that. So we have the Dirtbags podcast, right? And I've been hosting that. Luke hosted it with me forever too.
Hmm.
And then what we want to do is expand as a business. And so we put out an opportunity of, hey, if anyone wants to host a podcast, let us know. Like Dirtbags will own the show, but you'll get to host it. You'll get to have full creative freedom. We'll do a revenue split with the ad reads, things like that.
That's cool.
And yeah, and so long story short, like we haven't announced it yet, but we'll just do it right now. Uh, Caleb Faust from Hydrovac Inc. He's a great friend of mine. He is a believer. He is a client of Phaser, and he
Yeah.
really had wanted to jump into the podcasting game. They do a lot of hydrovac and underground utilities and sewer
Yeah.
lines and things like
Yeah.
that. And it was a perfect situation because he's like, Luke, I saw what you posted. Basically, he's too busy to do all the producing and the editing and the all the things, but he wants to host a podcast. And for us, that's perfect. We have the producer, we have the editor, we have the graphic designers, we've been doing this for Dirtbags for 4 years, in total podcasting for 6 years. And we're just providing that audience too of like, hey, we have a new show under the Dirtbags umbrella. We don't have a name yet, so we'll announce that, but it'll be a name, but it'll be just Caleb and his show. And then,
That's cool.
so it'll be really cool to try and expand that way and
Yeah.
bring on more hosts that get to run their own shows. We're doing it similar to like the Barstool Sports model, where there's
Yeah. Yeah.
personalities or podcasts or bloggers, and then we have contracts and things. But to answer the other question though that you had is, for myself, do I see myself hosting the Dirtbags podcast forever? I was thinking, dude, I was thinking about this today. It's crazy. I so we
You're almost the face of the show.
Well, appreciate that. And oddly enough, I'm trying to. So there's a level where that helps, and I agree. Like it's,
I guess Luke too. Like that's kind of your guys.
yeah. And then, but then part of me is like, it's great to continue expanding that. And so we've been testing, some guest hosts. We'll have James Stixman guest host with me, and Dervin Whitmer and some other guys there. But I was thinking about this because Olivia and I are going to have our first baby in July, which is,
Oh no way! Congrats.
thank you. Yeah. We haven't told any, we've told some people. And so this will be the baby announcement too, but
Lots of good stuff on this one.
yeah, man. I appreciate you asking though. This is awesome. But so I was thinking about that. So in July, right, we're going to have a baby, and usually I would just bank up a bunch of episodes. I
Yeah.
was thinking about it today. I was like, why not try like having somebody else just fill in for me and
Yeah.
host the show while I'm out? Cause I hope to take a little bit of time off to
For
spend
sure.
time with my wife and the baby. And
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I think I'm gonna try that. And so we'll see, but I can
Yeah.
definitely see myself like having somebody step in as the host and having me not there and
Yeah.
just see how it goes. And I think the audience is obviously absolutely incredible, and our guests are amazing. And I have a number of people in mind I think would be willing to step in for me and host the
Yeah.
show and do a great
Yeah.
job. So all that to say, man, yeah, thinking about that today, and I definitely see it in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It kind of just made me think of it when we're talking about like what we've been going over and,
Mhm.
starting to delegate different tasks to different people. I mean, obviously it's like you're still operating a business, but like in your
Yeah.
sense, kind of like I said, you're the face of the podcast in a sense, whereas like, it's not like it's I guess dirtbags, it's the same kind of thing, but yeah,
Yeah.
so you have a hard time of like, you might have a hard time stepping away from that. And like, maybe the podcast doesn't have, not lacks quality, but like it doesn't have the same touch as when you did it.
Hmm.
It's no different than, like my kind of work. I fear that same thing, right?
Yeah. It's a great conversation because so I own Phaser Marketing, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's the same process I had with that, and where I'm actually way more on the side of I'm okay letting go because I
Yeah.
know that our team can do a much better job as a full squad, like taking care of this business than I can
Yeah.
do it alone. So
Yeah.
like for Phaser, in the last 18 months or 18 months ago, we had one full-time employee and we contracted everything else out. We have, I think, 25 full-time employees now. And we're just, but it's been amazing. And the delegation side of it has been super helpful for me to like really do what I love to do most and what I'm best at Phaser.
Yeah.
And I'm applying that to Dirtbags more now of
Yeah.
like, what does this look like in the future? And I think that's where the idea came up of the multiple shows, where it's more of a network of shows, but then also
Yeah.
with the Dirtbags itself. Yeah, like I think just getting more personalities in here, getting some other hosts, and on the flip side too, it is one of my favorite things to do. So
Yeah.
that's a good sign. I know I'm in a good place there, but I do think it'd be really cool to be able to pump out more content too. Maybe jump up to weekly and have somebody else stay on some other episodes. I think that could be
Yeah.
uh, a really cool thing for the company.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's how I kind of got onto like listening to the whole dirt bags was like I don't know, just it honestly was like out clearing snow in the wintertime, just driving in the tractor or something. It's like you get sick of listening to music, right? So then
Yeah.
I would listen to podcasts about, whatever. Like like I said, I'm big into like motocross. So like I'll listen to podcasts about like motocross stuff or whatever. And then, but I also have such a genuine interest on just business, right? So it's like I would always like not joke around, but I kind of look up on podcasts, oh, business related stuff. And I'm like, man, this just isn't cutting it. Like no
Mhm.
one gets it if you're not in the same line of work. And then I don't know if it was Instagram or where I came across your guys' stuff. And I'm like, man, this is unreal. Like I'd just be like in the tractor, like driving like for a long drive or something, and I'd just be rolling episode after
Yeah.
episode. It's just, yeah, it's cool.
Dude, that's crazy. Well, thank you for saying that. And Luke and I always joke about that. We're like, I don't know how people listen to us for 2 hours every 2 weeks, but it's dude, I've never, not once in my life, have listened back to an episode.
Really.
Yeah, no lie. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just kind of on to the next one. And like you and
True,
I had
true,
just had the conversation for 2 hours.
true,
So
true, true.
um, but yeah, like I send it to Brandon, our producer, and he edits everything. And I usually just listen in on the ad read part just to make sure it sounds
Yeah,
okay. And then, yeah, then he sends it, and then Keegan splits it up into shorts and everything. And that's it. Like I don't listen back to him ever. I
that's
think,
wild.
I think I don't like listening to my voice. And so I'm like, all right, we'll just talk, we'll send it, we'll do the next one.
I'll probably never listen to this because I hate listening to my voice too.
Oh, dude. No, speaking of that, I mean, thank you for being on the show, dude. This has been awesome. And I want to give another shout out to your Instagram page. So everyone still listening can go give you a follow, but it's
Yeah,
at Stewart Concrete Groundworks.
yeah.
Will you be out at any trade shows, Con Expo, things like that coming up or?
Dude, I'm so bummed. So I I don't even know how this didn't cross my mind because I listened to podcasts and like I listened to Taylor White's podcast,
Yep.
like the Con Expo
Con Expo one.
podcast, and like listening to Con Expo and all this stuff. And one of my good buddies actually is we're all going with a big group of guys to Nashville for his bachelor party, and
Ooh.
didn't it'll be a good time for sure, but it didn't even cross my mind that it was the same time as Con Expo. So now a couple of my buddies from back home that are on the same line at work, they're like, dude, what do you mean? Like I thought we were going, and yeah, I'm bummed. I think it's especially because it's the whole like every 3 years too.
Dude.
It makes it even worse.
Yeah, don't worry. You'll be able to go in 2029. It's
Yeah,
like,
like that
what?
sounds terrible.
We'll be like, yeah, dude, we won't have any fun. Don't worry. It'll be, it'll be good. But
Well,
Nashville should be fun.
3 years I'll make an effort.
Yeah. Have you been to
Of course.
Nashville?
I haven't.
It's kind of crazy.
I've heard that.
It's actually very, in my mind, my opinion, very similar to Vegas, but without
Hmm.
the gambling. And because like the downtown Broadway and all that, it's very busy. It's very touristy. There's a
Yeah,
lot of lights. There's a lot of obviously country music and fun
yeah,
bars. Um, a lot of drinking, just like
yeah,
Vegas, but
yeah,
there's no gambling. So
yeah,
I'm sure you guys will have a good time at the bachelor party.
yeah. I've heard the live music there is killer, so I'm looking forward to that.
Dude, that's probably my favorite part because you can go to any hole in the wall bar or in my experience, any
Yeah,
hole in the wall bar and like this small town guy playing music is just like the best music you've ever heard. Like this guy's
yeah,
incredible, but
yeah,
it's because the talent pool in Nashville is, I mean, the best in country
yeah.
music. So yeah, you can go anywhere and you get a free concert. It's like this guy is absolutely incredible.
That's sick.
Yeah,
It'll be a
it'll be a
good
good
time.
time.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome, dude. Well, before we jump off,
Yeah.
want to get any book recommendations that you have for our listeners. And thank you again for being on the show. Hopefully get to catch up with you sometime soon, hopefully before 2029 at
For
Con
sure.
Expo. But Taylor, any book recommendations as we wrap up this episode number 117?
Yeah, the E-Myth. It's
All time favorite.
yeah, I don't know, like I'll be completely honest, like I didn't read it right down to the last word of the
Hmm.
book, but like I've done a little like it's kind of been on and off audiobook,
Yeah.
but yeah, like kind of going back to the whole conversation I had of like working in the business and there's this kind of like the book says like there's this myth of like oh, I'm super skilled at this trade or whatever I do, and just because you're skilled at that, it's boom, I want to start a business because I'm the best at it, which yeah, 100%, like that's where it all stems from. But just there's so much more to it than that, and I think a lot of that book has, and I'm not a big reader, honestly, but
Hmm.
when I read a book I can relate to, I have a little bit easier time getting through it. But yeah, I think that book just kind of, yeah, like it's, you got to read the book. It's just one of those things where, like I said about, delegating tasks and like as you grow in business and, the different steps and how your business is operated and things like that. Yeah, it gives you a different outlook on things for sure.
Yeah. And for everyone listening, that's The E-Myth Revisited by Michael E. Gerber. It's one of my all time recommended books for anyone in business or wanting to start a business. It's like ground floor, simple, but it will change your mindset of what you're doing and how to do it moving forward. So it's, I would say, very inspiring and also very convicting, probably.
Yeah.
As you read it, you're like, this is me. This,
Yeah.
like, he's talking to me.
100%.
Might as well just sign it. Luke, this book is for you. I'm just going to take your name out. But yeah, man, that's such a great recommendation. And if anyone hasn't read it yet, I'd pick it up today, the E-Myth Revisited, or just listen to the audiobook version.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's a great foundational business book in any business.
Yeah, if you're ever in like you're in a rut,
Hmm.
like with the whole working like crazy and having a hard like when I kind of started getting a better like just world like bird's eye view of everything from reading that book on it, like
Yeah.
it gave me a different view on everything that it totally changes the outlook for sure.
Yeah, that's so awesome, man. Well, Taylor, can't thank you enough for being on the show. Glad we could make it happen. And this is episode number 117. Hopefully, we can get you back on the show at some point in the next year, 2 years, get a recap on how things have improved, things have changed in your business, things have changed in your operations. But can't thank you enough. And for all those still listening, definitely go give Taylor a follow at Stewart Concrete Groundworks. And of course, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure you like and subscribe or follow the show, ring the notification bell. Taylor, you're the man. Thank you so much, dude.
Thanks for having me. It was awesome chatting, and yeah, I look forward to doing this again.
Heck yeah, man. Cheers, and we'll see you on the next one.